Well, good evening. I want to thank you all for joining us tonight. I want to welcome you all. We've got actually a couple of videos that Joan and I were kind of talking about playing. Oh, you know what? I'm going to mute everybody. Just give me 1 second. Sorry, a bit feedback there happening. But yeah, so Joan and I were talking about the videos we've been watching with Eric Worre, and some of the messages are kind of aligning with a book that we're all reading or listening to, an audible by oh gosh, I just drew a complete blank. Joan.
Bob
Proctor with
Change Your Paradigm, Change Your Life.
Thank you. I've been listening to so many things today. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm on overload, but I'm so excited. I had an amazing talk with Donato tonight too. And I thought, okay, there's so much I want to talk about. We've got to kind of zero in and start with one step at a time. But why don't we, I'm really hoping that you guys are listening to the audiobook. I know we did find it on YouTube, and it's not Bob Proctor doing the actual reading, but the message is still is there, okay? But before we get started, I do want to, where is it here, share a message from Robert Kiyosaki before we actually go into the subconscious mind and the paradigm, because I thought this message was extremely powerful. And you might not recognize Eric in this, because this is before he went on his health kick and decided to change his paradigm and change his life. And he literally proved that you can change by making choices and visualizing how you want your life to be. This is a great interview with Robert Kiyosaki. Enjoy.
This book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. This book has been a phenomenon.
Hang on, I think I forgot to share sound. Here we go.
The book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. This book has been a phenomenon. It traveled around the world, many different languages. And this book talks about the difference between being an employee and being an entrepreneur. And it was really kind of adopted into the network marketing community because it helped people understand what they were setting out to do and why they were breaking away from the employee quadrant, as Robert Kiyosaki talked about the differences. And he's very passionate about entrepreneurship, developing people, and the spirit around it. And he's also very passionate about network marketing. A number of years back, I sat down at his offices and I did an interview with Robert Kiyosaki talking about why network marketing is misunderstood and what people can do about it and the real value of this profession. So here are his thoughts. Check it out.
If network marketing is so good, why is it so misunderstood?
Well, because most people went to school to become employees. I didn't understand network marketing at first either, because I didn't understand why I needed to be an entrepreneur, because I already was born an entrepreneur. I was trained to be an entrepreneur. I started my own companies. I understand taxes. I understand investing. I didn't go to traditional schools. I have a Bachelor of Science degree, which stands for BS, but I don't, I have other skill sets. So I didn't understand it. And then a friend of mine who was a CPA signed up for network marketing. And I said, hey, why'd you do that? He's in Texas. And he said, well, because I need to teach other people to be entrepreneurs. And that's when I kind of got it. I went, oh my God. So I really, school's important. We need accountants, we need attorneys, we need auto mechanics, we need truck drivers, but we also need entrepreneurs. So once I realized that network marketing was training people to be entrepreneurs, people did not need a paycheck, people not trying to get rich quick, then I was on board. So it took me a while to understand that network marketing is really a development program for people who want to be real entrepreneurs.
Do you think people in network marketing sometimes do themselves a disservice by painting the picture too rosy?
They talk about money. Oh, look how rich I am. Let me, I have my 3 Ferraris and all that, but I'm not flaunting them, you know. But they talk about getting rich, and people do get rich. Like, I have a friend who put her husband through medical school by being a network marketer. So she just made enough money so that he could go through med school. Then she quit, and she was happy. Now her husband's a doctor. They pay high taxes. But anyway, they're quite happy with that. But that served her purpose. She didn't really see it as training other people to be entrepreneurs. And that's what I'm trying to say. To be really, really successful, to be spiritually rich, you must be generous. You must be kind. You must have compassion for your fellow human being. That's a rich spirit, you know. And of course, you can make money by cheating people, screwing them, killing them. That's not your choice. I choose rather to be a teacher, to help my fellow human being. You know, you met my wife, and she didn't marry me for my money because I didn't have any, but she has the biggest heart. You know, she just wants to not give people money, but teach them. You know, like, you don't give people fish, you teach them to fish. So really, that's the spirit of a rich spirit. It's not screwing your fellow human beings, screwing your competition. That's old school. You know, that's got to stop pretty soon.
Yeah, some people in network marketing, I think, are so misguided that they're trying to get people instead of trying to help people. They're hunting instead of farming.
You said it better than me. And they lure them with, oh, get rich quick, get rich quick. And when they don't get rich quick because they've come to supplement their paycheck, they quit. Now, I think if you're upfront with people and you say, this is a process, it generally takes about 5 years. But just show up. Don't pressure them to do what they can't do and all this. And as their spirit gets stronger, you have a better chance of making it. You and I know in network marketing and in real life, if you work with 100 people, 5 might make it. Right?
Yeah, so others are just going to use the product or whatever.
Yeah. And then next year you'll have 5 more people. Well, that's 10. And then year 3, you have 15. And that's really a network. So you're working to build a network of other entrepreneurs, people who get the picture. And as your network increases, your wealth goes up. That's true spirit of being rich. You made other people rich. You've got to make other people rich if you want to be rich. You cannot make yourself rich and screw everybody else. And that's what they're teaching in business schools. You know, I was in the MBA program. I lasted like 9 months. And finally, I realized this is not for me. I really dropped out when they told me they were trying to teach me in the business school how to fill out a resume. I went, what? You know, they're teaching entrepreneurship, but they teach how to fill a resume. I said, I don't want a resume. I don't want a paycheck. I don't want to screw my friends, you know? That's not me. I'm not here to beat, you know, I'm not here Coke versus Pepsi or Ford versus General Motors. I want to help my fellow human beings come up. And that is really a rich spirit. And that's why I love network marketing. But as you know, a lot of people give it a bad name because it's about getting rich quick. And you can if you want, but that's not why I support it.
Now, if a person starts for a large company and they've got their big organizational chart, okay, usually looks something like this, and they start at the absolute bottom for Fortune 500 company, and they want to get to CEO. What do they have to go through to get there?
I don't know. It's not. I'm a former Marine. Okay, Marines do not hire CEOs. Do you know what I mean? You don't find a Navy guy commandant of the Marine Corps. We develop our own leaders. You know, the same as the Air Force. In the military, we develop our own leaders. In corporate America, the odds are your CEO will come from outside your company. That if you start off as sales managers, you don't have a chance of making CEO. They're going to bring them in because they went to Harvard or Stanford, and you don't have a prayer. So network marketing is like the Marine Corps. You know, we develop from within. We develop our own leaders. And that's the way it should be. So if you're in corporate America, the odds are they're going to hire someone from outside because they want new ideas. They're not going to develop you.
Yeah, and you have to go through the politics.
Oh, there's politics everywhere, but you know what I mean? But the point here is this, what's your odds? Not good.
See, in network marketing, you start at the top. You start as CEO, and you start expanding, building a network. You start identifying other people who want to be entrepreneurs, and then you start training those entrepreneurs, like you said.
Well, this is what really bugs me about the people who don't know about network marketing. They call it a pyramid scheme. Well, corporate America is a pyramid scheme. You know what I mean? It goes like this. You have thousands of MBAs, let's say working for Ford or General Motors or Coca-Cola. If all these MBAs, all trying to get to here, that's a pyramid. Only one guy's going to make it. Every 10 years, one's going to make it. Whereas you look at network marketing, it's like this. So you're here, and your job is to develop other CEOs coming up behind you. So it's an inverse pyramid. That's what I write in my books. I say it's really the corporate America scheme is pyramid scheme. Network marketing is really a scheme of developing future entrepreneurs. That's why it's successful. It's the spirit that it comes behind of it.
We train people to step into entrepreneurship. We are a school that teaches people how to go into business for themselves, how to become self-employed, how to develop the skills necessary to run their business, how to go beyond being told what to do, how to become the support system instead of hoping that a support system shows up. We are the resourceful. We are the entrepreneurs. We are the creators. We are the people who are helping others through our products, but really helping others by helping them develop their entrepreneurial mindset and skill set. That's the true value. And I've learned that personally over 37 years. It is the true value. It's what you become in this process that really matters. You get to earn on your way, but what you become is the real prize. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this clip from Robert Kiyosaki. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Pretty powerful message, right? I mean, and you have to remember that's like, I don't know how many years ago that video was done, and he's written so many books. And what a great mentor. Before I bring up the other video that I wanted to share tonight, who actually has been watching or reading, the Audible or reading the book by Bob Proctor? Anybody? Excellent. Leon, did you do it on YouTube? I didn't see your hand up.
Yeah.
Okay. So who is not familiar with a paradigm?
I haven't read
it?
it, but I'm pretty sure my mom's read it. I know there's lots of people around me who read this book.
Okay. It's been a game changer. I mean, it's an oldie, but boy, when I went back to review it, it hit me differently this time around. I think I've listened to about maybe, I was telling Joan today, probably 8 times in the last month or two, because I have it constantly playing wherever I am, wherever I go. And if you're doing something and you're not getting the results, and it's been years, there's a reason why. Okay. And Joan, maybe you had a definition of a paradigm?
I know when I read the books, I always have to review, okay, paradigm, habits, subconscious, all these words, right? So that's why I thought I'd put it on a slide. So it's a visual, so you remember. So those who are visual can see it, right? So can you allow me to share, Nada?
You should be able to.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Can you share?
Yeah, I hope I have it right. Yeah, I think this is
Excellent.
I hope this is okay, yes, I do.
Well, great. I didn't know you were going to do this. Thanks, Joni.
It's a visual, and I have to constantly go back. I even Googled something too, right? So in order to understand what he's saying, you have to know this, right? So I actually did word for word what he did.
That's okay.
I'm a bit of a geek, so I did that because I have to remember it, right? So just what is a paradigm, right? It's a multitude of ideas that are fixed in our subconscious mind. It's a multitude of habits that are fixed in our subconscious mind. Hold on. So a habit is an idea that expresses itself without any conscious thought. So you automatically move into action. You automatically drive your car primarily by habit, and you don't have to think to drive your car. So you're programmed to drive your car. So he mentioned this. I think this is important. So if a person would objectively observe their own behavior from the time they would get up in the morning, for 2 to 3 hours, they would see that most of the behavioral patterns that are involved would not give them the success they deserve. So they have to ask themselves, why am I acting this way? And they do it every day. So it has nothing to do with what we learned in school, because if a person has a bad paradigm and they have a great education from school, he says they're going to lose or just going to fail. So education is not going to help them. So you need both. You need to have a good paradigm, right? And what I did was, so I was looking at the subconscious because I had to think about it too, right? So I Googled this. So, you know, when you read it, right? So it's the subconscious mind is part of your mental processes that operate outside of your conscious awareness. It's influencing your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors without you being directly aware of it. It stores information, beliefs, values, memories, and determines many of your automatic reactions and habitual actions. You're doing things that you're not even aware of. So think of it as the background of your mind working behind the scenes to shape your experiences. So these are just some examples. The non-conscious part of your mind, it's not currently in your focus, but it still processes the information and influences your actions. It stores memories and experiences. Your subconscious stores a vast amount of information, including past events, emotions, and learned behaviors. And I think what is interesting is that children, they just pick up things from the environment, go straight to the subconscious mind. There are no filters. So that's why they say you have to be really careful what you do around kids. So it influences your behavior. The subconscious drives many automatic actions such as breathing, habits, emotional responses without you needing to think about them. So it's a powerful force, and some believe that a large percentage of your thoughts and actions are influenced by your subconscious. It can be accessed and reprogrammed. Now, this is the good news. While not directly accessible, the subconscious can be influenced and reprogrammed through techniques like affirmations and visualization. And the book shares all of that with you eventually, but I just thought having a definition of this would be important moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so.
Thank you, Joan. And again, it's really deep because you don't realize what's buried in your subconscious mind until you really start evaluating your habits, what you're doing, and the outcome. Okay. Anybody, any thoughts on that? I know, Shelley, we asked for you to all read the first chapter, right? Or to listen to the first chapter.
Yeah, and I think the one thing that I picked up several things, but the one thing pertaining to what Joan just introduced there is becoming more aware. Like an awareness is just huge because, you know, there are things that you do, as Joan was mentioning, you know, you can look back and say, well, yeah, because I've always done that. My dad did that, my mom did that, my sister did that, and so I've always just done it. But it's asking yourself, why am I doing it? Is it serving me well in terms of where I want to go? Do I want to start changing those things and shifting, you know, in a different direction? So and that was one of the big words that Bob Proctor had talked about, is once you throughout your day just become aware, then you can start to shift your habits a little at a time. You don't want to do this big upheaval sometimes because it can become overwhelming, but yeah, just focus on that whole awareness part to learn about yourself.
Thank you, Shelley. Anybody else?
Has anybody read the Make Your Bed series? Like the Hero Code,
No.
ones. It's by like an American general, William McRaven. But it's all about like building little habits and stuff, and it's like the simplicity and repetition. So it's like the first thing in the morning when you wake up, like make your bed. It's like simple, it's stupid, but it just like builds on to the next habit, and you know, day after day, you stop even thinking that you're doing it, and you're just obviously becoming this different person, building different habits. So yeah, simplicity and repetition.
And repetition is the key, Nick. Because again, since I've been reading this book, I mean, we've always written in journals. I've always done my affirmations, but when I made a decision, to really be disciplined. As soon as I wake up, my hand just goes to the right
Yeah.
and gets my book, and my pen is there. I put my headphones on. I start listening to my affirmations. I start writing the 10 things I'm grateful for, my affirmations. I write down my goals. Like it's like a habit. It's more of a habit now
Yeah.
than it's ever been. It's so weird. Even when I was at Shelley's, we were at Shelley's for the weekend. I went with I couldn't sit there and I had to finish my book before I did anything with my cup of coffee, right? So it's incredible how you can, once you start making it a habit, it's just like, not like they said, just getting in a car. You don't even think about how to start your car and how to drive your car.
Yeah.
It's an automatic thing, right? So, but yeah, those good habits. And again, you got to look at the habits that you do have and how do you switch it to a more positive habit, right? To something that's going to serve you.
Yeah.
It's going to help you achieve your goals and your dreams, right?
And Nick, I think that book that you have is a good example of
Yeah.
that. Atomic Habits is another one that
Yeah.
talks about habits that a lot of people are familiar with. So it's good to know some of the new books,
Yeah.
that maybe the younger generation is connecting with.
Yeah. No, Atomic Habits
Awesome.
is on the list. I need to read that one next.
Mhm.
Oh, good. Excellent. So let's just hear a message from on the subconscious mind from Eric, and then we'll have a discussion around this. Hopefully it'll work.
Your life and your future, you know what it is? It's your subconscious mind, not your conscious mind, your subconscious mind. And I learned so many things about my subconscious mind and the mind of people who get involved in our profession over the course of the last 37 years. I want to share with you a real key insight, how to get your subconscious mind working for you instead of working against you. Okay? Let me show you. We're programmed to serve what is primary for us and to sabotage what is secondary. If you have your basic form of income, outside of network marketing, and then you have your network marketing business. Let's say you're part-time. You have another source of income, and you have your network marketing business, okay? If you're honest, one of those is primary, and one of those is secondary. And you're like, what do you mean by that? Well, one of those gets priority, and you work to serve the other one when you can get around to it. See, let me give you an example. Some of you are incredible employees. You're amazing working for somebody else. You don't take a sick day. You don't show up late for work. You do as you're told. You follow instructions, right? At your job. But not so much in your network marketing business. You wouldn't think of taking a week off of your job, but you could take a week off of your network marketing business like that for the smallest of reasons. So if you put a P next to which one of these is primary, which one I'm not talking about where you spend the most time. Which one is primary and which one is secondary? For most people in network marketing, their basic source of non-network marketing income is their primary, and their network marketing business is their secondary. And here's what happens when one of these is primary and one of these is secondary. Your subconscious mind will serve the one that's primary. You won't miss any days of work. You won't take too long at lunch. You won't call in sick. You'll show up on time. You'll be a good soldier. at one. But for the network marketing one, let's say if it's secondary, you'll do it when you have time. You'll do it when you feel like it. Right? So have you ever bought a car and let's say it's a new type of a car for you, and then all of a sudden, all you can see on the road is your car. You see all of these other other people around you. Like, was everybody always driving this car? They always were. You just couldn't see it. Your subconscious mind filtered that out, so you didn't have to deal with that. But once you raised your awareness, because you're now driving this car, you're going to see other people that you wouldn't normally see driving same car as you. That's how powerful your subconscious mind is. It will literally serve one and it will sabotage the other. And this is not about time. You say, well, I'm working part-time in my network marketing business. What do you expect? You can be primary, right? Focused on your network marketing business, and secondary, focused on your job. Think about this. Most Olympic athletes don't get paid enough money in their sport to be able to take care of themselves. So you know what they do? They get a job. And if you ask that Olympic athlete who's serious, is training about the Olympics, what's more primary for them? Their training for the Olympics or their job? Obviously. Well, you say, it's easy to say, obviously, it's the training for the Olympics, but that's the Olympics. Well, this is your life. This is your Olympics. This is really a big deal. That's why I'm talking to you about these books, like What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. Every word that comes out of your mind, everything that's going into your mind is programming you and programming your subconscious brain in order to be able to serve one thing and sabotage everything else. It's why the people around you are so important. Every conversation you have is serving something. You just got to determine what you want this to be serving. So I'll give you an example, like how entrepreneurs think in terms of time, or how normal people think in terms of time. They have to give the time to what's primary. They don't have to give the time to what's secondary. They'll do it if they get around to it. You know, when it comes to how they approach things, think about how disciplined you are in other areas of your life and how disciplined you are at your network marketing business. Do you even have specific hours that you work or no? Probably not. Why? You don't feel like you have to. Why? That's built for another aspect of your life. You're very structured here, not so structured there. So I'm telling you, any day you wish, you can switch these. And your network marketing business can become your passion, which will start to open up opportunities for you. You'll start to see prospects you couldn't see before. You'll see.
Not sure what happened there. Sorry, guys. Can you hear me? I don't know why it stopped. Hang on. It was almost over, but let's just see. For some reason, it froze on me. Oh,
Opportunities you couldn't see before, right? Your attitude will change. What you listen to and the people you surround yourself with will change if you switch this, even if you're part-time. And you'll do the income to take care of your family while you're building your fortune. But this is the focus, okay? Switch the primary and secondary. It's literally a decision. And then let your subconscious brain go to work to support your future. It is an incredible machine inside of your head, and it can guide you to the life that you want. Get clear on that life that you want. Make it your primary passion and watch all these little thousands of 1% decisions start to take you in the direction of your purpose. I hope this message found you in a good place today. And I hope you really get primary with your network marketing business because it'll change everything. That's it for today. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care.
So that really hit home for me, especially when I look back to working on the police force. Like that was my income, but it wasn't my primary. When I became so passionate about building my neo-life business, I would go to work and I'd do my job, but I was so excited to get to the meetings. Like that was all I could think about, no matter where I was, because I had this vision, I had this goal of being free, right? So it like listening to this was like, oh my gosh. And the power of visualization, guys. I was joking around with a dear friend of mine, and some of you know her, Brenda. I remember when she was looking for a house and she described her dream home, wanted this house, and she described it to a T. And she went to go see this house in Orangeville, and it was the exact house that she wanted. They went to go put an offer in the next day, and it was somebody put an offer in and it was gone. And I said, Brenda, there's another one out there just like it. I said, you stop. Don't you get upset. She goes, no, okay, no, I'm going to keep thinking of that same house. I want that house. I want it on a court though. That one wasn't on a court. And I said, okay, well, visualize it, draw it, write it down. Picture you in that home. Picture the kids, because our kids were around the same age. They were quite small. Within a week, the real estate agent called her and said, Brenda, I found you that exact same house on a court. And she got it, and she's living in that house today. Like, it was like, we talk about it all the time. We're like, do you remember when we were visualizing that house? And so it works, guys. But you have to be really, really clear on what you want, and you have to do the work, right? You have to do the work. Any thoughts on that?
One of the things it says that it's not just thinking about it, but internalizing and emotionalizing. Because that's what brings it to you, that it raises your vibration, your energy to attract it to you. It's like a magnet, right? So you have to bring up your vibration for it to come to you. So it's not just thinking, but you have to feel it and
feel it.
realize it.
And people will feel that vibration. People will start to come to you and in ways that you would never expect to happen where you are, when you're talking to people, when you're developing relationships, friendships, starting conversations. It's incredible how people get just attracted to the energy, the space that you've created. It's so powerful. You know, when somebody's in a negative mindset or they're in a bad mood and their vibration is low, you kind of don't want to be around them, right? So it's incredible, the power of the energy that you put out there. And you have to work on it. And that's if you want it. Like if you just want to treat your neo-life business as a hobby and not make it a primary, that's your choice. But if you want more and you haven't achieved your goals and you want that different level, you want that income to grow, these are the things that you have to do. Some of you are being quiet. Come on, guys. Unmute yourselves. We just had Nick so far, Joan, Shelley. Who else?
How many people here have the business Neolife as primary?
We got Joan, Shelley,
I see.
Heather. Yuli, would you say you're primary? No. Heather?
It kind of comes and goes. Sometimes it's primary. That's all I do. That's all I think about from morning to night. And then it's like I go on vacation and then I come back and I do like it's primary, and things move and things happen.
Being primary and taking a break every once in a while is okay, Heather. I would say you're pretty consistent and pretty active. Like you don't treat it as a hobby. You just take breaks, which is sometimes you just need to take a break. If you feel like you need to take a break for your mental, mental reasons, just for kind of peace and calming and relaxation, that's okay. But I think you're pretty primary. So I know you a little better.
It goes on.
I think another thing, go ahead, Virginia, or Joan, go ahead.
You go.
Oh, okay. I think when we talk about primary and secondary too, because I was the educator first, and then I had the neo life. And now being retired, I've shifted that for sure. But Bob also talked about the primary law, which is the law of vibration, which is what Joan had mentioned, and the secondary law, which is the law of attraction. And just so that I don't mess this up, I'll read what I wrote down here. What you think about controls the vibration. So if you have positive thoughts about what you're doing versus negative thoughts, right? That'll give your subconscious where you are in the vibration, right? So what you think about controls the vibration that you're in, which controls what you attract. So they're completely connected. So you can't attract something that you're not in harmony with. And that really struck me where, I can say I'm grateful for this and I'm happy and grateful that this is happening or this is happening. But if they're just words and I'm not really believing them and I'm not really being positive about them and I'm not really living it, then I'm not in harmony with what I'm trying to attract.
Right.
So that kind of laid it out for me, how those two are connected as well.
Excellent. Very, very important point. Thank you, Shelley.
And the key thing is they always say, what would you love? Right?
Mhm.
When you say what you
Yeah.
love, that in itself
Yeah.
it's in a higher vibration. But if you're just thinking, oh, it looks like this or that or this, you know what I'm saying? So what would you love? It takes you there. And the other things, he goes into the different faculties. So one of them I like is the imagination. And it's a fun thing. I think it's fun. Just creating a vision because you're using your imagination, right? And they say the imagination is the doorway, right? To that infinite side of you, right? So just have fun with it. I mean, it's stuff that we would love to have, right? And that is what will drive us. Is as we said, emotionalizing those things that we imagine, and will bring it to us.
Yeah. And Shelley and Laura May are going to do a session for us on May the 31st when Todd Miller is here. So the first part of the day is going to be Todd Miller. And then the after lunch, we're going to have an incredible session done by Shelley and Laura May on vision, creating your vision, a vision board, but also journaling and the psychology behind it. So I think it'll be a really fun afternoon on the 31st. So those of you that are coming, I think it'll be just a great packed filled day.
And
Okay.
and the habits too, exactly what we're talking about, right? Of what would be that you have this on your vision board is great as pictures and what you love, as Joan was saying. But now what are the habits? What are the different things that you want to be doing to move towards that?
And I think before that happens, I think we should all do homework because it doesn't take half an hour. You need to spend time to figure out what you really love and what you want to do. So by going there, you have an idea of what you love, and then Shelley and Laura May will do the rest, help you sort it out.
Put it together.
I think you need to do some work before we go.
Okay.
Couple
Thank
of
you,
things
Joan.
I just want to say is we're just taking it from what Nick was saying about repetitions. The repetition changes your behavior, which changes your life. Like everything else, it's a repetition, right? You do the same thing over and over again, it becomes a habit. And then it does change your direction of where you're going. The other thing that Joan was just saying, it's, have fun with your imagination. Yeah, I have a huge imagination, and I find that in my imagination, there are my goals. And you think, wow, this is kind of way out. But I have found that once you get into that thinking, really making it happen, somehow doors open. Like it has happened for me. Just certain doors that you go, okay, now I can see. And you have to be creative with your imagination too. When you're creative, you go, how do I do this? And you go, I don't know how I do it. But then when you keep thinking about it, maybe that's how I'm attracting it, because then some door will open and someone I'll meet who knows someone, and you know what I mean? And it all meshes. So that fascinates me as well, because what you think up, like if you think about it to the detail, and I have a sketch here, which I have got all the details of what I want. And I am seeing little, it's like a puzzle. It just comes, little bits and pieces are coming, and I will find the whole picture eventually. So it's quite, I'm just fascinated with it too, right? So it's a good thing, but it's a good thing. It's positive. You got to keep thinking, and sometimes it's way up, but who cares? The universe or God or whoever it is, it will manifest. It will come, right?
And I just want to add, thank you, Leonie. And we had a great session with Nick and Sean today with Ashley. I think that painted a stronger picture too. I would highly recommend you guys setting up, like if you're needing help or support in any way, set up a Zoom with Stephen or Ashley. We're meeting with Donato tomorrow. They want to meet you, Donato, so they're really looking forward to hearing your vision and where you see your company and your business going.
Taking over Canada.
What's that?
Taking over Canada.
Yeah, taking over Canada. I know you have a huge.
Nobody can stop that.
Donato's been watching what's been going on. He's watched every video on that YouTube channel. He's watched all of Jerry's podcasts and convention talks and learned about who we are and what we do. And he's like, 20 years later, we got to do something bigger, right?
20 years, I have to catch up. I was telling Sean, I'm the rookie. I'm the newbie on the block, starting over. So I got a lot of work to put in. And, I could talk all I want, but until the work's done, you can't talk. I always tell other people in business, there's no sense even opening your mouth. Your work ethic and your talking, you'll put that into action. That's all that matters. I can be talking all I want, but if I'm not initiating conversations every day, it's just talk. Nothing's going to happen. I already know that.
But your goal, your goal, just to maybe describe your 3 and 30, which is different than our 3 and 30. Describe what your goal is now with conversations. I found this quite cool.
Stephen Whitwell, I know I watched that video, have, initiate conversation. So I figured, okay, I remember from long ago, I don't know if it was George Castell or Rico Brown, they said, with the 3 marbles or the 3 rocks in your pocket. And that's how I started this off 20 years ago. I'm going back to the basics, the foundation. It worked in for me. It's going to work again. But this time I've elevated it to the next level, which is 3, initiate 3 conversations every day for 30 days. And once I get that be consistent. Today I did 4, yesterday I did 3. And now my new goal is 3 before noon. So I know eventually my goal is to go to 3, then 6, then 9, then 12, then 15, all the way up to 33. I picked 33, that's the magic number. 33 conversations in a day. And I know how God and the universe works. Whatever you believe in, that's your prerogative. But sometimes you think, okay, I'll work towards 33. It'll come in eventually a year. Somebody will, well, when do you want to do that? I go, well, I want to do it in a year. God will bring it back. It'll happen even faster. I'll be speaking in front of 33, if not 330, if not 3,300, if not 33,000 people. That's how it works. I was telling Sean, there's the power is in compounding people. Compounding people is better than compounding interest at your bank. That's what this is about. Compounding people. The bank compounds interest, we compound people. Just like Eric Worre was saying, talk to, having more people, building that business, that network. As you build that network, you're not having to beg people to do this business. You're not having to beg people to get on the products. And then, like Joan said, and you said, it's all about your energy. Once your energy, you start to get excited, everybody gets excited. They don't even ask you about the products. They just tell you, sign me up. That's what they used to do to me. And I was like, but I didn't even, I wasn't trying to sell them that. I was like, yeah, but I didn't even tell you about it. It doesn't matter. Whatever you tell me, just tell me and I'm taking it. I'm like, okay, that's how the business started for me. So now it's just doing the numbers, having the conversations, getting reacquainted with the business, but being committed. I have to be committed. I can't be interested. It's got to be all in. This is secondary for me right now, but I want a primary as fast as possible. I got to get back to Emerald Director as quickly as I can, faster than I did last time. That's my mindset, my headspace. And I'm already thinking, how do we take over? How do we take over this province? How do we make Neolife as big as Herbalife, bigger than them? Because I see what these people are doing. I know this is a $9 billion or $9 trillion industry by 2028. What piece of that do we want? This can go across Canada, take over all of Canada, put Neolife on the map. We have everything. I don't need. Everyone might be thinking marketing. 20 years ago, we didn't have this marketing. I'm looking at everything. This is like candy, being a kid in a candy store. So I don't know what. There's no issues. Like, we got too much. That's the way I look at it. You've got too many products, too much. You don't need all that. I started with Tree and End. That's it I had. And it had no marketing. It's conversations. People get excited by your vision, listening to your voice. I stay quiet because when I speak it, they already know the fire's in my belly. It's over. Once I proclaim something, I set the intentions. It's all. There's nothing to stop me.
So that's how when you're talking to people and you're sharing, you got to talk with conviction and excitement.
Yeah.
Because that's what's going to attract people to what you're doing. When they see how
Neolife,
strong you are.
sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
When they see how strong you are in your belief.
You guys are believers. I already know that. You wouldn't be on this call. We have everything that we need. You got the highest standards in the industry. You listen to these scientific advisory board members and the people speaking, their integrity, their intentions, how this company was founded, all that. Somebody comes to me and starts to talk about other companies and products. I can be laughing inside myself because we are the best. There's no comparison. Can't compare. Once you start comparing in business, you start going down that rabbit hole, you've already lowered your standards. That's what they teach you in business. You've already succumbed to that game and you're going to be wiped out because they're just going to lower you and lower you and lower you to make you feel like you're just like everybody else, like GNC and all these other companies. These cheap alternative vitamins that aren't even, whatever's in the bottle is not even in the bottle. You're not getting anything. So why go down that road? I'm not entertaining that. And another thing I wanted just to say quickly, law of attraction is amazing. I don't know if you've heard the term magnetic marketing. I think it's Dan Kennedy. He's a great marketer. Selling is one thing, but we have to become great marketers. And a great marketer, number one key to being a great marketer is knowing who your avatar. Have you heard this saying, avatar, your avatar? You guys know the word avatar?
Yeah. But
Avatar,
it's more of a, go ahead.
it's your ideal target market. Who is your ideal client? Who are they? I think a lot of people don't even know this. I asked business owners, they don't even really know in detail. I did a 4-hour, I think it was 4 hours or 6-hour branding session with one of my clients and a marketing guy. We did a 6-hour to do her branding and logos and all that stuff. We did a 6-hour breakdown of who the ideal target market. This is for real estate agent. I mean, we went into detail, where they shop, where they live, what they buy, what car they drive, what they wear. Like we went into very, very, very vivid detail. So the same thing applies to this, because you're going to attract what you think about. If you don't know who your ideal client is and who you want to attract to your business, you're going to attract people that you don't want to do business with. Now, I'm not saying you don't want to do business with. I'm just saying they're going to be at the low end of the totem pole, where they're going to be like, oh, these products are, they're very expensive. Oh, I don't do they. You're going to hear about 100 excuses from those people. Is that your ideal target market? It's not mine. It won't be mine. Mine's already set in my head. I already know. Sign me up. Doesn't matter how much it costs. Just here, take my credit card. Here, sign me up. Let's go. I said to Sean in a text today. I forget what we were talking about. The price, Sean. Refresh the price you asked me about.
Yeah, the price objection.
And what's the one I told you about, the Ferrari and the
you don't fill up your Ferrari with like low quality gasoline or something, or
right? That was about the price objection, right?
Yeah.
So the same thing. You think people go into Ferrari dealership or Rolls Royce and they start to negotiate the price? You think that they haggle? Do you go get gas for your sports car or your high quality vehicle? Do you go put regular gas in it? No. So the same thing with these products. They come to me and give me an objection. You don't even want to imagine what kind of objection handling I've dealt with. They're not going to even believe what comes out of my mouth. I'm going to say, fine, you want to use that? That's like putting low grade gasoline in your car. Would you do that? What kind of car do you drive, by the way? I'm going to ask them, what car do you drive? Can you imagine putting regular gasoline in that? What would happen? If I put regular gasoline in my BMW will be found on the side of the road. Same thing applies. Jet fuel, jets, they put a super high quality fuel. They don't think about the cost. The engine won't run. The car won't run. The same with our bodies. Our bodies are like a jet. Do we treat it as such? Not everybody. But this is about awareness, like Shelley has said. Conscious awareness. Awareness is key. Awareness. Making people aware. But we have to become aware. We have to become aware. Paying attention is the key. Paying attention and being aware of what we have here, what we're representing here. Mm-hmm. We don't realize how powerful what we have here. I'm just back only a couple of weeks and I'm shaking. I can't.
And it's good to hear. It's good to hear your perspective, Donato, being, coming back after 20 years and then hearing Nick today,
mm-hmm.
Hearing Nick share, like, I remember what you shared with me today, Nick, is like, people need to know, like when you listen to John Miller and you were blown away with John Miller's presentation, he goes, people need to know this, but that's where we're the messenger. We have to go out there and share that and get people to understand why we're doing what we're doing and why we chose this company. So they're not going to see that unless we're there to help for them to see it. And that's where we're the messenger. Okay. So we got to get better, stronger, more bold, not afraid to talk to people, reach out to people, start conversations, and don't be afraid to say, you know what? You got to check this out, guys. Nobody is doing this. You got to listen to this, right? So just be more, I guess, more bold and strong, because that we have the best. We know we have the best. We do. We're just too quiet about it, right? We're just too quiet about it. Like, Donato's inspired me like crazy this week. I'm like, I've been too quiet. Like, careful.
We're here to inspire each other.
Right? Too careful. Don't want to upset people but when people see that you're sincere and you're compassionate and passionate, they're going to want to know more. Okay. So we got 3 minutes before we head over to the other side. Joan?
One thing is we have to examine our beliefs as well too first.
Yeah.
We have to examine ours.
Very important.
Thank you, Joan. That's a great closing line. Examine our beliefs first. Appreciate you all. Have a great night.
Thank you,
We'll
Nada.
talk
We
to you
appreciate
soon.
it.
you.
Night.
Take care,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.